Hello and welcome to Shosta's House. My name is Jackson Peary. This is a show that brings you discussions that are affecting, the national discourse. Today, let me just say, in the past few days, there's been a conversation in the country concerning the word database, where Zambia police came out and said they recruited about 4,000 police officers. But of course, the issue has been that why didn't you advertise, the recruitment? So there's been a back and forth between the people. We've seen the president say something. We've seen the Minister of Home Affairs say something in Parliament, and we've also seen Zambia Police also give a statement. Coming from that background, you'd be glad to know that today we have, on the program, former Home Affairs Minister. He understands these things very well, so that he can explain to us what is really going on. Are the people missing anything? He is also a Shiwangandu PF Member of Parliament. His name is Honorable Stephen Kapyongo. Honorable, thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Piri. Finally,
we are here together.
Finally, it's a big pleasure to be hosted by you. And obviously, we have to juggle between times, as you know. Today being a Friday,
yes,
we are also
sitting in Parliament. Also, I know I'm not taking for granted. You also have other places to be at, but of course, you're here to make time for the Zambian people. Thank you so much, Honorable.
No, I'm profoundly humbled also for the invitation, and also to our dear listeners. It's a pleasure to engage you through this very interesting platform.
Thank you very much. At a later stage, there are numbers on the screen that you'll be able to use to get in touch. And that's if you have a question or comment, contribution towards today's discussion. Honorable, you were Home Affairs Minister at some point. So speaking from that perspective, is this Zambia police recruitment that has sparked public outrage, is this regular?
Thank you so much, Shosta. And I know that obviously there's been a lot of public debate. Yesterday we had the Minister of Home Affairs coming to the House to try and render a ministerial statement, and of course, people are still, which also just raised more questions than addressed answers. I want to just start by letting the people, our viewers, know that you do recall that I was elected as Member of Parliament in 2011. I came with President Sata. When we formed government from the opposition.
Yes.
And he spent 1 year at the backbench, and then Mr. Sata appointed me to be Deputy Minister of Home Affairs.
Yes.
Where I served under two different ministers, the former President ECL, Dr. Simbiakula, and so I served there for 3 years. As deputy minister, and then I went to the vice president's office to serve the first female vice president, Madam Inonga Wina, where I worked briefly before I was elevated to become full cabinet minister at local government. The longest I served, then after 2016, I was re-elected as Shiwangandu MP, and then appointed as Minister of Home Affairs up to 2021. So that gives me a reasonable understanding of what happens in the many institutions that fall under the Minister of Home Affairs. So coming to the specific question that I have posed of recruitment.
Yes.
Recruitment of Zambia police officers is a national exercise.
Yes.
And what happens is when there are vacancies, and normally what informs the recruitment of police is one, the police public ratio. Meaning
police public ratio.
Okay. So as the numbers of the citizens are increasing, it's important that the service also increases the number, because there are set standards on the numbers that are required in terms of police to public ratio to ensure that internal security is not compromised.
What is the police public ratio?
Well, it keeps adjusting.
It
keeps adjusting depending on the demographic dynamics.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So the best, and for the people to just understand, is that the more the population is growing, the more you expect the number of police has to increase.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, apart from that, of course, you know that people get retired. Yes. You know, people, also get removed from the service for different reasons. So, when a desire has been noted, and then the assessment is done on how many officers you need to recruit at a particular period. And then you look at the capacity of the Zambia police to absorb those numbers. And the capacity is in many ways, because you are not going to recruit the officers that you are not going to equip, that you are not to clothe, that you are not also able to look after in terms of accommodation and welfare. And so the issue of finances becomes very critical. That's why you hear that they have to seek for what they call Treasury Authority from the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance should consent to say, okay, you want to recruit 5,000. We have now the financial capacity, we have the resource allocated.
Yes.
So such that when officers are recruited, they are also going to be on a payroll.
On the payroll instantly.
Instantly, you understand. So that also becomes a burden on the treasury.
Yes.
So when that authority is gotten, then the police will go now into the nitty-gritties of now advertising that the police will be recruited. And you know, they use national media, they use the NBC, they use so that the citizens are made aware. What is clear is that we have got so many youths, the number of unemployed youths is so high.
Yes, yes.
And that's why it's important that when you are doing such exercises, it is done fairly, transparently, so that those who are left out do not live to complain. That's the number one. So you cannot satisfy all the masses, regardless of the number. You can't.
Yes. Because even people know that government cannot employ all the citizens.
Correct. That's why it's important that when people are explaining, they are explaining truthfully and sincerely. So when that is done, it gives an opportunity to the applicants to apply.
Yes.
And I want to let you know that by the time I was leaving the ministry, I emphasized that we change the policy, modus operandi, so that the recruitment is decentralized into the divisions. A division, maybe to make it easier for the listeners, is like a province. Now you have got the division that is commandeered by a very senior officer called the Commission of Police.
Yes.
That's it. That's how we changed the command structure.
Yes.
So the division is capable of identifying recruits from a province.
From their province.
From their area.
Yes.
So now you do quota system. When you do quota system, you also take into account, obviously, provinces are not the same in terms of population. Lusaka and Copper Belt have always been the biggest provinces. So you would say maybe if you ordinarily you would say, okay, you divide that 4,000 by 10 provinces. That should have been giving you like 400 officers from each province.
Yes.
But then you take into account the dynamics that I've mentioned.
Yes.
Lusaka, Copper Belt being the largely populated provinces. So you certainly allocate a little bit more, for example. And so what follows then is you allow the divisions to then do what identify from their divisions.
From their constituencies, yes.
So they would call these youths who have applied and get them to the provincial division headquarters or something. The first thing they do is physical assessment. You see these youths running.
Yes.
Because that's where it starts from.
We've actually come across.
We are not just going to pick because it's Shosta, who is known connected to someone. What if he goes and defends the first day?
Yes.
You know? Yes. So we make sure, the police should make sure that they then assess these the young ones physically.
Yes.
Before they even come and look at the credentials, the qualifications, and everything else that is required. You know, where they need to do up to the tests, You do up to the test so that the screening is thorough for everyone to see.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And so, if you had given 100 to Eastern Province, they work within that number. Okay, as they are sending to the to the headquarters,
yes,
they would have screened
from Eastern Province.
From Eastern Province.
And also a different number in a different province, they would also do the same?
Correct. Same procedures, same day.
Until you pick.
In fact, you do it same day so that someone doesn't think if they fail in Muchinga Province,
they can get on a bus,
bus quickly and go to Eastern Province. You understand? So you make sure that it's done at the same time. So now, when that is done, then they are brought here. There are only 3 training schools for Zambia Police Service. Okay? There is the school in Kamfinsa,
yes,
public school, school of public order maintenance,
yes,
and then you have got Lilai, and then you have got the famous Sondela,
yes,
in Kafua. So then you apportion, and when you are doing that, you would have taken care of also the gender, because already by going to these provinces, the national character is granted.
Yes,
you understand. The national character is guaranteed by just going to those provinces.
Yes,
so that one is catered for automatically through the quota system. Then you come and take them to schools. Those who would have failed, they will know that yes, it has been failed. It's a very important task to do, but it comes with a lot of pressure. So when you say the database, when was this database compiled?
Was it mentioned like 2023?
No, but you see, there are so many things that have changed. The people's age, some of them who were eligible then could not be eligible now.
In fact, it's one of my questions.
And then the physical nature of these people is not the same. That's why you need to reassess them. You need to reassess them. The procedure must be followed. So how do you get then people from nowhere? You just say, we are getting... That doesn't hold water. And even when the minister came to Parliament yesterday, you could see that, that statement was more of a damage control statement.
What are some of the things that the minister said in Parliament yesterday that you didn't agree with?
First of all, he wanted to go back to the PF and use blame game.
I'll tell you this. He suggested that this recruitment was informed by a comprehensive human resource needs assessment undertaken by the police service. Does this warrant going against...
No, the comprehensive needs assessment is what I referred to. That's the rationale for recruiting. That's done prior before you do the recruitment. That's when he was correct. He was very correct, but even himself admitted that the process was flawed. He admitted on the floor.
Admitted on the floor that
that the process could have been flawed, but the desired result was achieved. Now, you see, even him says, even the ordinary UPND members are crying. Do you know what that means? Those who are crying are those ordinary UPND members who have got no connection. So who don't know anyone.
So do you think the people that are in the 4,000 are most likely to be the people that have got connections?
That's all. No one can. How else are you going to justify? Because I've explained to you the thorough process that is done in order for people to even see that no, actually I saw my son went to run and he failed. He couldn't run. You understand? So when you do it transparently, you don't even need to answer so many questions. The fact that you are answering so many questions, it means there's something wrong. And then the commander-in-chief comes in and says, we are attending to that. What I expected the commander-in-chief to say was that, look, I hear the people of Zambia have complained that there was no transparency, there's something suspicious about this recruitment. You halt it and start afresh. Because if the desire is to prepare officers for the general elections, you can only get officers after 6 months that are properly trained. You understand? So, if that's a desire, then you are already behind time. So it can still be redone.
So you're convinced that the motive behind this is to get officers ready for the elections?
Well, for me, I don't see, if that's a motive, then it's misconceived, because you cannot get an officer ready before 6 months. You understand? So the basic training for the officers is
that's at least
6 months.
So because also those are some of the questions that are coming up, like why?
So there's no rush. There is no rush, because you are not only training police officers for an election. These are police officers that will be looking after you and me beyond the elections.
So they need to do a
now. If they are recruited corruptly, and already you are complaining about these corrupt practices, you have seen officers fighting on the roads with traffic officers fighting the members of the public. Why? Because it could be maybe professional misconduct, which has gone at high. Now, if the beginning of the profession is such,
it is not done correctly.
Is not done correctly, and it's done corruptly. So to put, how do you expect to have a proper officer? Because someone will be coming out of there knowing that, oh, because I'm privileged, I'm an officer in uniform because of my uncle who is ABCD. And then we have seen letters flying around between the secretariat of the UPND and the police command, and the people being told to submit so many names. It becomes, it becomes so suspicious.
Honorable, what is the danger of having officers not complete you said the 6 months training? What is the danger of, for instance, if the training is hastened and people pass out before it's 6 months? What's the danger of having such officers
it's ending up with a compromised system. Compromised system. Just as you can't, when you're baking bread or buns, you put them in the oven for a certain period of time for them to be for the products to be proper. So if you are half-baked, and come and eat the half-baked bread, you risk running a running stomach.
The minister.
And so imagine that going to the system. So if you see that an officer is conducting themselves and behaving like a riffraff, it's because of probably the training not being enough or being adequate.
Before we add the public, the minister in his statement alluded to the 2023 recruitment database as a key pillar of his of this exercise. My question is this an established alternative in recruitment?
There's never been such an establishment. There's never been.
There's been an argument that the PF also did something similar.
When?
Do I have the when?
No, but you see, these are speculations. I was very, candid. And if you spoke to my former Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kakomakanganja, he will tell you that if there's something that I made sure that they focused on, I don't even have to brag. I made sure that, look, you have to make sure that you are thorough. Yes, if people have got their children, let their children at least meet the required standards.
The PF has never used the database to recruit people.
No, not that I remember of, because any fresh recruitment must be done according to the requirements, so that you are thorough. Because this issue of database, I was just hearing it for the first time. So but you see, again, look at what the Minister of Health was saying the other day, because that's where I know that there has been a database. Why? There it's different. You have got doctors that have graduated.
Yes.
You have got nurses that have graduated, and they are offering a service voluntarily. You understand? You certainly need to have a database.
Yes.
There it's totally different. Even if there are also some shortened, there are also some. So in the Ministry of Health,
it's a bit acceptable to use the database.
Correct, because like I'm giving you, you have got doctors that are working long hours, sacrificing their time to save life, and they are not being paid. So you have them. How many at UTH? How many at Level Mwanawasa? How many at Level 1 in Matero? How many nurses do you have? How many physiotherapists do you have that are giving a service? These are trained young men and women who are saying, okay, instead of sitting home until we get a job,
yes,
we are ready to give the service even if we are not being paid.
So it's acceptable to put those, to
integrate
those into the system.
Exactly. Those will just integrate in the system because they're already there. It's not justifiable to come and say a person who has been a sweeper in the police headquarters should automatically have a better privilege than my school leaving child or person in Shwangando. No, that could be just minimal. In fact, what if those are even over age? You understand? So to try and say, no, we got the civilian members of staff to put into the service as a justification, it doesn't hold water.
So how as Zambians, how do we feel then if you, as a former Home Affairs Minister, says that the recruitment process that happened should not have existed? Are we being taken for a ride as Zambian people?
There's a possibility of Zambians
or do people in higher places think we don't think anything can be thrown at us and we should just accept?
When we are doing things like that, Shosta, I am a rural MP. Okay? I went to a rural school. You understand? I know what it means to have an opportunity. You understand? It's very difficult. I remember there was a recruitment, I think it must have been 2018. People from Eastern Province, young ones, trekked to come from Eastern Province to come and launch a complaint that we were disadvantaged because people came from Lusaka to come and take our spaces. In that circumstance, I think I requested the command to say, look, investigate this matter.
Yes.
Listen to these young ones who have got these grievances because they are helpless. They are coming from the rural area where they don't have anyone to speak to speak for them. So when you are recruiting, you have to bear in mind that how do we help the school leaver in Kalabo, the school leaver in Shangombo to have the same opportunity as the school leaver in Lusaka.
Yes.
You understand? That's what you are doing. Now, if you are sitting in Lusaka here, you sit in a boardroom like this, or you sit wherever you sit other than the police high command, and then you use the selection, and you have got lists flying from all over to say, oh, these are the lists you should consider. What you are doing is you are denying those vulnerable children an opportunity to also compete. 2, you are creating a problem in the system because even those police officers have got children. They've got school leavers. Now, you understand that he is a senior officer on the Copper Belt, or maybe even in the Northern Province, who just sees, oh, now there's recruitment. They've got children also that they would want to join and to join them in the service. They equally left out. So you start creating an imbalance in the system. But when it's thorough, even those that would have children, they participate. They let their children participate with the rest of the children.
Yes. So
to answer your question, I can say that they are taking people for granted. These are the same youth they'll be going to. And if you are acknowledging that even in the UPND, those who are helpless, those ordinary members are complaining, because they will be able to see that one of our chairman from the ruling party, Banamutenga, he said, with alliance, but to the ruling party. Again, you start just creating those, tensions in society.
Honorable, you've been a cabinet minister, you've been Home Affairs Minister. The question I want to ask, in a year like this, where you are going to elections, don't you people sit down on some tables and say, we can't do this to the people of Zambia in this year, especially in this year? We can't agitate people like this.
Correct. It depends. When you have, sometimes power blinds you. Authority can blind you to the reality. And if you have,
so there's nobody to tell the other.
And if you have people that listen, and people that, normally people who surround you, those who are sincere. No, everything is okay. You have done well with that recruitment. People are happy. You understand? They are very happy, Mr. Don't even disturb it. It's going on well. That's what you have, but the reality on the ground is totally different.
If there's one thing I understand is that the president of a country, even the president of Zambia, is the most informed citizen in a country. How does such information elude such a person?
No, well, I don't think it eludes them. You heard him say he goes on social media to hear what people are saying, and he's been following, and that's why he said we have heard the complaints about police recruitment. We are doing something. Now, when you say you are doing something as a head of state, and the people hear that people have reported and have started training, what do you expect? So people will think, oh, even the president is content, he's happy with what has happened. He doesn't care about our complaints. But that's what I was saying, if he's commander-in-chief, he could have just come and said, what this process, do it properly. You know, make sure that everybody participates from the divisions. Then aggregate the numbers. Forget about that database which doesn't exist. So that's what should have happened. And I'm happy. I saw the Minister of Wealth. Of course, I just didn't like one thing that, of course, he acknowledged that there could have been methods in recruitment. Again, there, you imagine some wealth workers are working, and then someone. You imagine some could have been working from 3 years down the line.
Yes.
Then someone jumps the queue, and they see those people being migrated to the permanent employment.
Yes.
So he acknowledges that problem, but also what I haven't seen him do is the remedial measures. What is he doing to address it? Because if you are saying no, we are going to launch an investigation. In the meantime, those who have been recruited, let them report. What are you saying? At what point do you hold the thing? So coming back to what you were saying, I think it's interesting that you are going to an election, and then you end up creating, unnecessary tensions in communities which can be avoided.
Yes, I hear you. There are numbers on the screen that you can call us on if you have a question or contribution to what is being discussed. We are having a conversation with former Home Affairs Minister, Honorable Stephen Kapyongo, is also Shiwanganju PF Member of Parliament. Honorable, yesterday, the Electoral Commission of Zambia announced 70 new constituencies arising from the delimitation exercise. What is your view on how these constituencies have been distributed?
No, in fact, maybe before we go there, Shosta, just allow me to exhaust just one thought.
Yes.
Even as we talk about the police recruitment, we also need to talk about the welfare.
Yes.
Because even when you recruit people, you must be able to equip them, you must be able to clothe them, you must be able to create an environment for them to work professionally. If you saw the program we had in our previous government.
Yes.
If you went to police camps, you would tell me that it was a sorry sight. I was invited to go to Kasama, for example, where they were found, where there were these old houses, broken down sewer systems, completely, outdated camp.
Yes.
You saw the efforts we started doing. Those efforts were meant to achieve a number of things. One, when an officer is well looked after, you can stand on the telephone and say, why are you getting inducements? Why are you getting corruption? You've got a home, you are looked after, you've got transport, and you're well equipped. You understand? So these are things that we need to gradually continue working on. And I was happy when I heard the minister, as he was coming in, saying he was going to continue, his government was going to continue from where we left. You have seen the houses that we have left for the few officers, in certain areas, be it Mose, Lusaka, Copperbelt, Northern Province, and we needed to continue doing that. Because most of the areas, the whole idea is that you don't have to keep your officers to stay in the community they're supposed to police.
Oh, yes.
You understand? Now you have got officers living in shanty compounds. To report to work, they carry uniforms in their bag. You understand? To go and change at the working place. Why? Because they know the dangers of being identified in those communities they are living.
Yes.
You understand? So that's why we started those efforts of putting up infrastructure for them so that they can be in cantonments for easier mobilization when you need them to respond to situations.
How has that been done in the current regime in terms of taking care of the police?
I haven't seen anything, my brother. I haven't seen.
When you say you haven't seen anything,
they need equipment. You see them running around with those few marudas and the things that we left for them. But the population is grown. The population is grown. You understand? So even when you are recruiting, what is it that you are also doing? Because where are those young men and women going to stay when they graduate?
So even the housing, you haven't seen housing units being built for the police?
You could have seen them. The time we were doing those, you were able to see me trot around across the country, you know, either looking at the progress and officiating at the handover of those houses. Then you have to cross them well. Now, when you see police officers fighting communities like it is now, you have seen police officers being crowbarred publicly, which shouldn't be desirable. Of course, the members of the public must also be educated to say, look, you don't resolve any problem by being physical on the officers.
Yes.
But on the other side, we must make sure that we have officers that are respected by the community.
Yes.
And respect is all end. You understand? By the way you conduct, by the way you handle the public, people will say, yeah, that's a good police officer. So it doesn't matter. You can go and round these reserves, you get and say, you know, they will never give you a desired result.
When it comes to that, Honorable, a thought has just crossed my mind. You've seen the way I'll bring you to the riots. I'll bring you to the riots maybe by UNZA. There's a change, and I think it's something that I would like you to acknowledge if it's something that you've also seen. You've seen like now, when the police go to UNZA, the students riot peacefully and no one is shot, no one is hit. And what is the difference with the way you manage the situation under your regime?
You know, commendable as it is, but you have just singled one issue. Is that what happened in Chingola, where you were rioting? Is that what happened in the mining areas where...
Is it where in Chingola, I mean, where those people were trying to stone where the president was? Which one was it? Or the other one when they were burning around the
post
okay.
You understand? So peace processions can be handled, and I think the reaction of police depends on the eventuality, on those that are protesting.
Like
so the one I saw recently, the youths were just running around to try and express themselves, and they didn't damage any property.
Yes,
they didn't become
the phone
violent.
Keeps ringing. I'd like to bring in the public just so you can hear some expressions. Hi there. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your name and where you calling us from?
Good afternoon, Kapyongo.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm well, and how are you?
Yeah.
Would
so much.
like to know your name and where you calling us from, sir?
All right. My name is Lewis, so I'm calling you from Baraston.
Okay, Mr. Ngosa, you may go on and contribute, please.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to pick the issues of the recruitment.
Yes, please.
And the Honorable has explained because he was Home Affairs Minister, and I followed it. Initially, even someone who is not highly educated the way these people think, there is no database in the police service. How do you use database? Because personally, I will tell you here, in Kanyama constituency, I volunteered when I was in Kanyama. I formed Neighborhood Watch. The whole Kanyama, just go there in Kanyama and John Lane, that site, because of the kind of the criminality which was there. And there was a few teams and the people who were actually joining us, and we fought these junks throughout. But we're in the database. No one has ever been caught. I was even checking find out about among those people who really fought that. No one has caught. Which database they use? So that is just a story, because the minister yesterday in Parliament, when I was watching, he had nothing to say. rather than start talking about the same PF, blaming PF, talking about when Honorable Simumba asked a question about someone who was complaining and the names that came from Nakonde. He started saying, you know, the member of parliament of Nakonde is not happy to have people, which is very, very wrong.
Mr. Ngosa, before you go, yes. I know you had questions and maybe doubts prior to the minister's statement in the House. So even after the minister gave the statement in the House, your doubts were never cleared?
No, I was not cleared because a minister is meant to, when they ask you a question, do not politicize. One thing I'll tell you about a New Dawn government, and this is one of the person who is the future leader of this country, you understand, and who've been following up on Parliament. I follow Parliament. We used to enjoy Parliament then, not now, because there's biasness and whatever. You can see the statement that Honorable Member for Nakonde, Honorable Simumba, he made. The speaker who said, can you withdraw? But you remember back then, when they were in opposition, and Honorable Gary Nkombo and Cornelius Mwepo, they would stand and speak. It was a free that the citizen would listen to. The question was asked, he did not answer it.
Who didn't answer? Who didn't answer?
No, the minister did not answer the question was asked.
Which minister?
Because he was busy.
Honorable Jack
He
Mwimbu,
did
I think.
not answer the question. I was not satisfied because he was busy politicized.
That's Honorable Jack Mwimbu?
Honorable Jack Mwimbu did not answer the question.
Okay. As we conclude,
Yes, in conclusion, you've asked him the question of delimitation. Now, in delimitation, and I'll laugh. I have in 2019 reports of delimitation. Chienge constituency was supposed to be divided in three constituencies. There is Kalungwishi, there is Chienge constituency. There is also another constituency which was proposed because it's big. I will tell you, they jumped from Chienge constituency up to Nchelenge is big as well. They went as far as up to Mansa. You see, their biggest constituents like we talk of the Mwense constituency is big. We talk of Mambirima constituency is big. But here someone in Luampa constituency that I know there is no even population, go to Luampa. How can you divide Luampa constituency to come in two? So the things are not in a system. And imagine, Lusaka is bigger than Southern Province. How can you give Southern Province 9 and you give Lusaka and Copperbelt 7? Does it make sense? I thank you.
Thank you very much. There are numbers on the screen that you can use to give us a call if you have any contribution or any question for Honorable Stephen Kapyongo, and then we can move like that. Maybe you can hold your thought. Maybe we just talk to one more person. Hi there. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Would like to know your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Piri calling you from Kapyongo.
Mr. Piri, you may go on and talk to Honorable Stephen Kapyongo.
Good afternoon, Honorable Kapyongo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Piri, and how is Kapyongo?
Kapyongo is very well, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate you coming on that platform to address this pressing matter, which is concerning the youths who are actually the leaders of tomorrow. We shouldn't run away from the fact that the youths are really being left out on a lot of things. Concerning this recruitment, first let me tackle on one of the promises of the head of state when it comes to recruitment in government institutions. He promised that not even his family, he promised that his family members he wouldn't allow them. None of them would be employed in these government institutions. But as of today, we have his son serving in the Zambia National Service. Coming to the police, we are all aware, just like you've stated, there can never be a database of police, Naku Defense Force, because of too many points here. One,
age, changes in age, and also in physical state of the candidates. So we are very disappointed as youths. And I've got a question for you, Honorable. Would want to know the advice that you have for us, the youths, or maybe a word of encouragement or advice that you have for us, the youths who have been left out, and to see maybe a way forward that you would wish to see so that such things can be avoided. Complaints have always been there, but it's getting worse. It's getting out of hand. Why should it always be the youth being left out? Okay, there's been increase in retirement age, and again, we are being left out in employment. What's going on? People have saved, like in the ministry, in the health, we've got volunteers who have saved for more than 8 years, but people who just completed maybe in 2024, they have been employed. So what do you think should be a solution to avoid such things from happening again? Because if every day we're just pointing out fingers, even if they say, no, we will address this, what should be the solution so that we avoid such occurrences in the future? I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Piri. Thank you very much for coming through. Honorable, I'm asking that maybe we pick the third call, then you can address the three calls together. Hi there, good afternoon.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Mule. Good afternoon, Honorable Kapyongo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mule.
Mule, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you in Sakata.
Okay, please go ahead and talk to Honorable Kapyongo.
Okay, me, I'm you. From Sasa, yes. You know, this thing they use database for 2023. You know, I say around this police camp. Someone who was going to school last year, finished school 20 last year, and I end up recruiting. So I don't know which criteria they use to recruit that person. I know him, you know, and he had recruitment.
So,
Tell me that
don't give me specifics, don't give me names, but I'd like to know which police camp is that, at least. Don't give me a name.
I'll not just say the police camp, but I just know the boy. I used to know him. He was going to school. Now he's in police. He went to the training.
And I is the last year school.
Last year, boss, and I told him result this year.
Manje boss, muziva ngati mukamba ba boza ema borera, it can be very bad for you. I hope you are really telling the truth.
This is what I know, boss.
So mwana wa school, wamina asiza school last year my results and this year ali mu database.
Hapo niko pende kam database because one be so many. Because I've heard my many people are saying the same thing.
Okay, if that's the case, then that's very sad.
And then me, I completed school in 2018. I applied when I came when he was the Home Affairs Minister. I was left out. I applied when I was member. I was left out. Now I just say, because people are being recruited. Are the same people who are connected with the police, the police, they are not getting cheated. You want to prepare background just to ICOM service.
Let us conclude, sir. Let us conclude.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So those people are being recruited. Their family members, but my political parties, as our parties are not they active in politics, they are not even police officers. So it's hard to get a job.
No, thank you so much for coming through.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable, maybe you can address the three calls we got and then...
Yeah, thank you so much. I heard obviously Mr. Ngosa. Mr. Ngosa was equally doubting this issue of the database and that he participated in the Community Crime Watch.
Yes.
Where he was working. I think I can only assume that he was working with some school leavers who had the desire of wanting to serve in the police service.
Yes.
And so if there was a database, he was saying
you could have
been
made
on
it.
the database.
Yes.
It goes without saying. And I think those are the issues I was speaking to. But he went further to speak to the aspect of delimitation. you know, delimitation, good as it may be, has also left a lot of questions from the people, because the reports that ECZ could have been following, I believe, do not to have been followed. You remember there is an organization which released the report of the constituencies they thought could be delimited.
Yes.
And the interesting part about that report was that Mr. Mwanza, Isaac Mwanza, who is an advocate, I think is a very well-known
I think he's also a lawyer.
Leonard Counsel, yeah. He was part of the technical committee that was sent by the president, you know, on the constitutional amendment matters. So he was well informed. So it would appear that there has been more of political sharing. You know, those that are aligned to the ruling party and their constituencies, regardless of the size of the constituents, are the ones that have ended up benefiting from that. But so it defeats the whole essence of delimitation, because these are the complaints that are coming. If you have to look at that report, just look at that report that was released by Mr. Isaac Mwanza and his group.
Yes.
And that could have been, you remember the initial intention of government and DCZ was to delimitate 55 constituencies. But they said after the technical committee, which went around gathering submissions from people for, you know, to the constitutional amendment, they changed the number to 70 based on the report that came from the technical committee. So what it shows you there is a contrast, you know, because you have to look at that report and you look at the actual delimitation that has taken place. Because that report is well informed, well researched, well detailed. They've looked at demographic aspects, they've looked at the geographical sizes of the constituencies, they have looked at all the aspects that should inform a decision to delimitate. But what has actually been done is now political. You know, who is aligned to who, where the prospects of maybe the ruling party getting more numbers. And that now brings in the question that Mr. Piri was asking, to say
some people say
how
that
come
Southern Province has got 9 and Lusaka has got 7. That's what he asked, yes.
Those are the questions, because now you look at the population, you understand, you have to look at the demographic factors and many other factors.
I've seen some stakeholders say that they were against the delimitation process, but after the announcement by ECZ yesterday, they are happy and they think that you know, the delimitation has been evenly distributed.
You know,
what do you think?
If you give me time, and this is where we miss it as a people. This is where we miss it as a people. You know, we must set our priorities right. No one is against delimitation. Even I would want a constituency where I come from to be delimited.
Yes.
In order for people to easy. But I've seen the propensity by mostly new members who want to think they can only work, they can only deliver to their people when these constituencies are delimited. How about those that have worked, served the same constituencies so many years?
So many years.
Yes, of course, now population has grown. But is it a priority? If you ask me today, sitting here in Sochta, I'm a member of parliament.
Yes.
Part of National Assembly where we approve the budget. If I tell you that we don't even have money, we didn't approve money to go into this to implementation of this constitutional amendment. We don't have it. It will be a lot of money. And I'm just wondering, you watch and wait and see what the Minister of Finance is going to bring to Parliament as supplementary budget. Because the amount of money that is required to take that number of members of Parliament who are coming is not small figures. Now, how do you justify that today the Minister of Health was responding to our questions? The situation at UTH is pathetic. There's no water there.
There's no water.
There are no reagents. These reagents the people use in the laboratories.
Yes.
Do you understand? So the situation is there. We just lost a student at the University of Zambia here because of the sanitation problem. the medicines is an issue in the hospitals. So what are our priorities? So we were not just cautioning government from nowhere. I'm saying members of the public must be mindful that let them see how it is going to be in terms of monies. Even the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the money that we approved for them to conduct general elections first, based on the constituencies that we had, is not enough. So we want to hear where the money is going to come from in order for them to undertake this month of task they might have.
Plus,
and this is why we are saying, look, it's even as we want to do something, you know, where I come from, if you want to cook a big Nshima and you have got a little mealie meal, what do you end up with? You end up with porridge. Your desire is to have Nshima. Is that what you should be looking for? No. You have to weigh and measure the water with the mealie meal. So, it's the question of priorities which matters here, and the fairness in the way you handle these particular matters. You have just done the boundaries. Next week, next month, people will be fighting in, and you know, it will be chaos to understand people. You are now in this constituency, your words have moved from this constituency. You needed time to let people understand. What time do we have to go back to the people and say, oh, now Rukasha, 6 words are not going to be part of Rukasha, are going to be part of Kasama Central. These are not minor undertakings. We have got traditional leaders, especially for us who are in rural areas,
yes,
who needs to be carried along. You saw that pandamonia that went on when the ECZ went to the provinces to engage the chiefs. So we were doing things in retrospect. You understand? The consultations should have been thorough from the beginning, so that when you are implementing, you don't create problems. Now, how much time is ECZ going to have to deal with these complaints and that to come out of these changes they've made? So that's the issue about delimitation. I heard Apiri from Kapyongo. He was talking about the president making an undertaking of not having any of his children taking a space for an ordinary citizen. We all hate that. But again, this is what you Zambians must be doing to us, your leaders. Please don't pamper us. When we promise A, it must be A. If we fail to bring A and we bring C, you must say, we must be able to tell you, please bear with us, bear with me, I'm able to do what I promised because of ABCD. But to just come to you and say, hey, after all, I'm here, it is done.
There's
nothing you can do. It now becomes your responsibility to make sure that you take us to task. So it goes with all of us. But when they asked me to give an encouragement to the youth, I've been a youth leader myself. I interestingly started politics while I was graduating from between youth and adulthood to participate. It's unfortunate that now the youths that we have had participating in politics, be it in representative capacity, sometimes, you know, when you are a youth, you test things.
Yes.
And it goes to what Bangosa was saying, that parliament is no longer the parliament they used to enjoy. And I hear him. I understand him. Because they've followed the standards. That's a national institution where everything we do there must be to that standard. He was making a very classic example. The MP for Nakonde was trying to ask the minister, that honorable minister, I've seen the people that have come from Nakonde and I know them, I'm their representative. These people are coming from the party. They are only coming from the party and no ordinary citizen has participated, like Mr. Ngosa was saying. Then you can tell him, no, where's the evidence? In the meantime, when the minister was saying, no, the PF were recruiting cadres, he wasn't asked to provide the evidence to put on the floor. So that unfairness in terms of how presiding officers, you know, make decisions is a big challenge. I was sitting in there as former minister, and I wanted to be on record to counter what the current minister was saying. I'm not given the same space that he had. That's what kind of unfairness is that? So those are the things that my brother was speaking to. But for the youths, I want to say this, that let's participate.
Before you go to that statement, I just want to clarify on one thing you said. In the House, the presiding officers are giving chance to the ruling party to express their views and are sort of curtailing the opposition?
That's exactly what we are saying. Same thing on the one side, and then you get the ruling different because the other one is coming from the opposition. And this is a classic example I was giving.
Maybe the members from the ruling party follow the rules to the latter. That's why they're not being suspended. That's why they're not being curtailed.
I don't think Mr. Ngosa would have been, even as an ordinary citizen, would have gone that way. He has seen presiding officers sitting in there, and he has seen this behavior. Look, Mr. Moyo, who has just now joined the UPND as one of the presiding officers, how can you give respect to a man like that, who has got no regard for the Constitution? He can rep the Constitution just like, you know, like not even an ordinary citizen. You are the first one to be a #1 protector. You have sworn to defend Mr. Piri.
I would like to come to that. Now that you brought that up.
No, maybe let's exhaust.
You're saying something to the youths?
Yes.
I want to come to
before
the point you brought
that.
up. Yes.
So
yes,
to the youths, Mr. Ngosa was asking, Mr. was asking, yes, it's frustrating, and you couldn't put it any better than I can't put it any better than you did. You've got youths that have been toiling, sacrificing, volunteering to save their fellow citizens, and then when the opportunities come, they are left, they are skipped. Those that are new or connected are the ones that are brought on board. So it's important that when the opportunities come, we try and be fair. You cannot satisfy everyone. You cannot perform miracles to satisfy everyone at the same time.
Yes.
But gradually, and if you are doing transparently, people will appreciate. That's what I think my colleague was saying. But the word of encouragement is that, please, youths, you don't sit back. I said I also started as a youth. Yes. And I was regretting that some of the youths, the Munia Zurus, the JJs,
So when you're saying to the youth, I'd like you to look in, because they are there in that camera there.
To the youth, I'm just encouraging you to step out. When we come to you and promise you, we must come back to you and fulfill those promises. I do recall that the youths of the Copper Belt, for example, were being assured of those dump sites. We are being assured that where they are doing their activities, be it in Angola, be it in Kitwe, be it in Frida, for example, you are going to be allowed to continue doing that in a structured fashion. And this doesn't happen. The encouragement to you is that step out. And for me, I would say we have done this. I was a youth leader. And being a youth leader, I made sure that where we had empowerment for the youth, we, the leaders, were not the first ones to be beneficiaries. What has happened, for example, in the Copper Belt and in other areas where youths have discovered these minerals, is that instead of structurally going to the youths, empower them with the knowledge, empower them with a bit of capacity as it was, as it should be. You go them and start butchering them and whipping them. When you saw the reaction of the youths to the president, people must be factual. People must be telling the head of state the truth. Those youths could not just be that rude to do what they did, which was wrong, and I condemned it. But I also said, listen to the youths. What could have agitated them to that level? It's because their expectations have not been met. You go and get those dump sites where they benefit and get elders' interests. You are the first one to start benefiting from that. What do you expect? You go to them and say, okay, we want $1 million to share the few of you. And again, only a few benefit. How do you go back to you and convince them? So you should assess all of us when we are making commitments and promises. Even under Tonse, this is what I keep saying. And I say, when you make a commitment to the youths, please get it sorted out. If you fail to sort it out, get back to them. It's not enough to just say, oh, we are going to create the opportunities for you. You know, these are intelligent people. These are educated youths, and the youths are in different categories. There are those that are educated. We must plan for them differently. Those that are not educated but still viable and productive are equally supposed to be catered for and planned for. You don't just call them names like Jerabos and what they are rude and what not. When they make them, you think you can catch them.
Honorable, I want to read part of the Constitution.
So I will appreciate, and I want to appreciate Mule. Mule raised a very important point.
Yes.
He says he has seen someone in the police camp who just finished last year. How did this person find themselves in the database?
Do you think that could be true?
It could be true. No, it's possible. Don't doubt it.
If it's possible.
These are in communities.
It's very sad.
You know, this is he's coming from the community. Don't discount him. He knows what he's talking about, and he spoke about how he failed to get an opportunity in 2018. Sad about that, Mule. But we don't look at who is who. And maybe if the processes were going to were transparent, you could have got a chance. You know, so he's complaining like that because he feels you understand? So we can't discount what you are saying.
They would have participated in the process.
If you are saying it's a database, how then does a school leaver of last year find themselves in the database of 2023? And there are many complaints. There are many complaints coming from different quarters about the same thing. I mean, we are living in communities. We represent communities ourselves. We represent people. Like the Honorable MP for Nakonde was saying, Honorable Simumba, he saw the list and he was able to identify people from his constituents. Some of us can't even see anyone. You understand? So, it's important that we are fair and thorough on the way we share the opportunities. You can't satisfy everyone.
Honorable, I've got a lot of questions for you.
Please.
We need to move. Before I read the Constitution, what are some of the things would you commend the EPND government in terms of delivery and since they came into power?
What are some of the things?
Yes.
Well, maybe you can help me in the sectors.
We can say the education sector.
Education sector. They've done a good thing when they talk about free education. Now, what is free education for a child who's going home, who is going to school hungry? You are saying school feeding.
Yes,
but this school feeding. This is what I'm telling you. I'm a rural MP.
Yes, please.
And I want you to
please educate me, actually.
This feeding program, how sustainable to what extent? If a child eats at school and still goes back home where there's no food, how does it add up?
Well, the parents should do their bit at home. At school,
exactly.
We've given you free education.
If they are getting a bag of minimum at more than 300 kwacha, and when they should have been getting at 50 kwacha as promised, how does that balance up? You understand? And, you know, so we must be holistic as we look at these things. Okay? Free education. Let's look about, they talk about tertiary exam. Here, university, by the time they were forming government, they are incomplete hostels there. Incomplete. Now they have to react to the institution challenges only after losing a student out. Sanitation, AFA student. That's when we will start working. Because free education should be speaking to the whole chain up to the tertiary level. So, talk about infrastructure. They started this dual carriageway Lusaka. First of all, you give away the targets that we left there for people to start making money before they even finish the project. You understand? This PPP they are talking about. The road has started. If you see the works, they have got no consultant there to make sure that the work is done properly. Look at the works that are going on in Ndola, washing away. We had the PPP between Chingola and Chilabombwe. A bridge was washed like biscuits cracking.
Honorable, I hear you.
Wait. they've attempted to try and do infrastructure. You saw Matembo, Minister of Copper Belt, crying on the road over the short works and what is suspected to have been corruption. So these are people that have claimed to be angels. So
Honorable, is there one thing they've done correctly? One thing, at least.
I don't know which thing, because if you are trying to force me, I'm explaining to you, I've told you free education. But that free education, to what extent?
I hear you. I
understand?
want to read the constitution, Honorable.
They have increased CDF.
Yes.
But now, if you see the works that are going on in the constituencies, where we were building schools, building a school is not a classroom. You build a school and everything complete. You understand? Now, they are celebrating building classroom blocks. So where we were building under the CDF of 1.6 million, where we were building mini hospitals, mini hospital, which can take the CDF even as high as it is for the rest of 5 years. They are building health posts. You understand? So it's in comparable terms. For me, it has to be in comparative terms. You get what I mean? So
I hear you.
This is because they want to tell you that CDF has been increased. The only thing also they've done is to empower some of the connected cadres by getting loans from the CDF component, which is not being paid.
Or the cadres are not, you have proof to things like that?
It is, the report is on Parliament there. The former minister came to tell us how the loan component is performing. It's not something I'm making, it's on record.
Yes, when you say that, I mean, I know you're not making things up.
Yeah.
What about Article 72 of the Constitution of Zambia, amended? I want to bring your attention to this. I want to read something. There's a question I want to ask after I read this. It says that a member of, it talks about vacation of offices as member of parliament and dissolution of a political party. So one says a member of parliament shall, except the speaker and the first deputy speaker, vacate the seat in the National Assembly upon a dissolution of parliament. So 2 says the office of member of parliament becomes vacant if a member, there's A up to I, but I'll read D and G. So D says, so I'll read this again. The office of the member of parliament or office of the MP becomes vacant if a member, D, resigns from the political party which sponsored the member for election to the National Assembly. That's D. So if you resign from the from the PF, that's what I would like to believe. This is what it's saying. If you resign from the PF and you decide to join a Jackson Piri party, I would like to believe that your office becomes vacant, calling for, maybe an election, a by-election. G says, having been elected to the National Assembly as an independent candidate, joins a political party. We've seen MPs joining, I think, even the ruling party of late, but we've not seen any announcement of seats being vacant. As member of parliament, how are you explaining that to the public?
Mr. Perry, it's very interesting. First of all, I feel sad, to be quite honest with you. And I want to tell you that when you are elected member of parliament, before you assume your duties, the very first thing you do is to take oath of office. And in taking that oath of office, you are taking oath and you are holding the Bible. You are also pledging to defend the Constitution, defend and protect the Constitution of Zambia as by law established. And you say, help me God. So it's really saddening to see that we, who should be trusted representatives of the people to make laws to manage society and to protect the Constitution, should be in the forefront of raping the Constitution with in the manner we are doing. That propensity of breaching the Constitution is unbecoming. And going to the future, these are things that we should deal with constitutionally. Because you have read the Constitution as it is. So how would a member who has pledged to defend the Constitution be the first one
to break the law?
Because if you are desirable to say, look, I move from part A to part B, you don't even come to National Assembly. You don't even need to be told. First of all, you must know the number one document that you should acquaint yourself with as MP is the Constitution. It's a supreme law. You understand? That's why we have had questions, even now with these amendments that have been done. I'll come to that. But to specifically deal with that, it's a breach of the Constitution on part of those members who have publicly declared that they've crossed the floor. So the ones you were reading the Constitution yourself.
So the ones that have crossed, they are still coming to the House?
They are coming to the House, some of them.
Why isn't the Speaker stopping them?
Again, that's now becomes, what sort of institution do we have? Is it really an independent arm of government as it's supposed to be, in line with the doctrine of separation of powers? Is it performing its functions as assigned by the Constitution?
I would like
because
to
like
hear
you are
an
saying,
explanation.
now even the worst part is that a presiding officer, Deputy Speaker 1, who was elected to Parliament as an independent member of Parliament, has the audacity not to wait for the dissolution of Parliament, which we read in Article 71, which says that's the only time that he and all of us are ceased to be members of Parliament. But because he thinks he can be protected by the powers that be, he can abrogate the Constitution openly. What authority is he going to sit with in that seat of privilege as the presiding officer?
I have a question. When members of Parliament like this are seemingly breaking the law or not following the Constitution, and maybe they have not even been told what to do by the powers, there's no way you people can go and complain like there's no body that can come in and try and fix things?
I think this matter has been raised on the floor of the Parliament. The matter has been raised for the Speaker to render a ruling. It is pending.
Oh, it is pending?
It's pending. But I'll give you an example. I was part of those ministers who remained in government prior to 2016.
Yes.
After we enacted the Constitution. And as new as it was, there was an interpretation that we who were cabinet ministers were to stay in office, until the next president came into office.
Yes.
You understand? When you go to the article that provides for how the minister should vacate office.
Yes.
So that was probably, I could say, wrongly interpreted to us. And we stayed in office. Guess what? Beyond 2026, beyond 2016, the Law Association of Zambia and some NGO, I can't remember what, and then there was a Secretary General then for UPND who went to Concord and petitioned that those of us who remained in office did that illegally. You remember the ruling that came from the Concord, and the Concord agreed with them that yes, we misinterpreted the Constitution, and we were all made to pay way after. You understand the occurrence. So this could also happen to these colleagues, depending on how the Speaker rules. The matter won't be settled if they don't do the right thing. You can wait. We know we have got our colleagues also in the ruling party who would want to be in the opposition, who would want to join the opposition as we go into the room. But we have told them, you see, if you have seen us, many people would want to misinterpret and say, oh, but you're also with the alliance. There has never been anyone going public and say, no, now we are no longer PF, we have resigned from the PF to become this political party. The alliance, that Tonse alliance, has got more than 15 political parties.
Yeah, it's an alliance.
And we don't belong to any of the political parties, as it were. We are there as ECL movement, coming from the Patriotic Front. So this impunity people are acting with must not be tolerated, because it is getting back to the independence of that arm of government. And I'm just surprised that really these people who are handling the president and making him receive people like that are not informing the president that, sir, you also sought to defend the constitution as head of state. These people you are receiving are breaching the same constitution. So that is informed. Yes, it's good to get numbers. Everyone is free to join a Piri party or another party, but let's do it within the confines of the law. That's what it is. We're not saying it's wrong for them to join. They could wait. Let Parliament be dissolved, and then they can go.
Speaking of which, how do you rate in terms of the UPND's accountability in the fight against corruption?
Again, it's very interesting. You know, it's like when you are pointing that Wapiri, you are a thief, and the rest of the fingers are coming back to you. Now you imagine, no, PF are thieves. They are thieves, and their colleagues that we know who have joined UPND now, who even up to last week were appearing before the Anti-Corruption Commission, like all of us did, and taken to the courts and exonerated by the courts. There are colleagues there who are still been going. So if you are a corrupt person and you are a thief, as we have been told, PF, thief. Today they are clean, they are angels, those that are joining the UPND. Isn't that hypocrisy? Wapiri, isn't that hypocrisy? I call you today, you are a thief. Then I say, no, come today, you are my person. You are no longer what I was calling you. So this hypocrisy in politics must come to an end. There must be dignity in the way we engage each other. We should not be taking people for granted. Now, you are saying about accountability. FIC report has been there for everyone to see. I was listening, the Minister of Finance came to the chamber just the other week, last week, when Honorable Mtoto Kafua wanted to find out the financial flows of money that has been exiting the nation. He came with alarming figures, 160 billion between the period of 2022-2024 have been gone. People not paying tax because they are connected to those in government. Where is the money going to come from to go and address the challenge of not having reagents at UTH? Where? Where is the money going to come to enumerate these people that are looking after citizens well? Be it in the public service. If we are allowing money, you know where I come from, the okra prepared by a foolish person, the whole pot can finish by people coming to test. Yeah, test. Finishes. Here, we are eulogizing investors that are coming to just siphon the money. Investors coming on equal terms. There must be beneficiation for the people that put us in the offices. So, if you look at those amount of figures going out, if you go to the Auditor General's report that we are dealing with now, and you find the companies that have been cited, for example, just give one or two examples. There's a company called Transseed Zambia Limited. It was contracted to supply seed to the Ministry of Community Development at the total cost of 31 million kwacha. You understand? For the period, for the season of 2024-2025. They were paid out of this 31 million, 9,785,000 kwacha to supply seed of rice, seed, kabulangeti beans, bereshi beans, and sunflower. Up to date, up to the time we are considering this report, no single bean, no single seed has been delivered. Reason? One of the people connected to the company is in the powers. You understand? Is in the powers. But we grill the technocrats. Why have you allowed this kind of situation? And they say, yeah, but you know, it's one of you that could be behind this company. So this man has gone. There is a company called GNM Projects, given the contract to build these chiefs' palaces for people in northern province. Chief Tafuna of Mpurungu, Chief Mpande of Senga Hill, and Senior Chief Mwamba of Kasama. These contracts up to now have not been fulfilled.
Shouldn't the...
No one arrested, no one thing.
Shouldn't the SEC be on their toes looking into such matters?
Yeah, but the SEC, which is just busy trying to look for opposition leaders as the only suspects. You heard that there were ministers who were suspects of corruption being cleared before they even went to court. What did the SEC use? And then, you know, we are not malicious, and that's why we say when people occupy these public offices where decisions, pertinent decisions will be made, must be above board. You saw the previous SEC, which was dissolved, trying to be aggressive, dealing with the current corruption which was happening. The gallant sons, the Musa Mwenyezi, who was a chairperson.
Yes.
You saw how they quickly exited. Now you have got the chief executive of SEC, who is a member of the UPND, a losing candidate, a losing mayor candidate in Ndola, clearing his a former chairperson who gave her the adoption certificate as being clean. What else do you expect? So these are things that we must be speaking to sincerely and honestly.
Honorable, because of time, I have got quick questions, about 3, but I would like them to be answered quickly so that I could also be letting you go. What do you think of, what this delimitation process conducted by the ECZ as the opposition, does it give you a lot of confidence going into the next general election?
I think you remember I spoke about it extensively earlier on when I was saying we are still analyzing it, but if you look at the report that came on those that did a detailed analysis, detailed research, and came up with the constituencies that thought could be delimited, and what has been done, you see that there's so much patronage, political patronage, in the manner that these constituencies. But at the end of the day, the people will decide. Believe you me, I know that many of them think now that their constituencies have been delimited, it will be an express for them to come to parliament. You go to people and let them know what you're going to do for them, what the government has done for them, what have they done for the farmer. I'm telling you that the money that we are going to spend is colossal. If the government came up with a program to support the farmer, who they promised to get more bags of fertilizer, I would have been saying, hey, Mwabombe niwa UPND. Because these are people that we represent. We know what they've gone through. They are struggling to produce, and then they are struggling to sell their produce, sleeping in the cold to just try and weigh their maize and sell. And then you come and take more than 8 months to pay them. You are paying them in the next farming season. What sort of government are we? And yet we are ready to create constituencies even when we don't have money. So where does the money come from if we can't help a farmer to be productive? Where does the money come from if people are crying for reagents in UTH? Where does the money come from if we can't pay these public workers that have been crying that their cost of living has gone through the roof? Where do we get the money to do these things? So for me, it's just priorities. We must set our priorities correct. Otherwise, that's a challenge we are going to have in implementing those measures. But we also need to get feedback from the people that will be affected. Yeah.
So going into the next general election, what does ECZ have to do to instill to instill credibility in terms of the electoral process ahead of the election?
First of all, we have to look at what they've put together in terms of the draft bill, which was presented today by the Vice President, called the Electoral Processes Bill. We have to see what the contents are in that bill, and then we can see how the Electoral Commission of Zambia is going to. I know that they're engaging the presidential hopefuls.
Yes.
in Mungushi. Again, we expect that they have sincere conversations there. Qualifications of presidential candidates are set out in the Constitution. So let's respect what is set out in the Constitution. But, you know, our fear is that if people are not respecting the Constitution now, then it becomes a problem. But it's a responsibility of the Electoral Commission of Zambia to ensure that they conduct the general elections fairly and transparently. They must ensure that people are well informed about these changes that they have made to the boundaries of the constituencies, so that they are not disenfranchised. Because if you are a ward and you find yourself in another constituency, you are expecting a certain person to be a representative, it's no longer the case. These are the things that are affecting our people for them to make informed decisions. So our plea to ECZ is to ensure that just as they listened by changing what they did, you imagine if they started collecting the nomination fees on the 15th. Even UPND were just
holding the in-house.
Holding their in-house, which has been very interesting and acrimonious.
What has been interesting about those?
The processes, you know, you have seen these internal contestations which have been hot. You know, people outdoing each other, outsmarting each other. So those mingalatos that we are seeing, people shoving each other and whatnot, is not what we want to see in the general elections. So I was saying, you imagine they were saying you start on the 15th. Yeah? The UPND were just endorsing their presidential candidate the other day. So let's be mindful. Let's not create things as ECZ that are not anchored on the Constitution. Make sure that everybody is given, even me, if I want to contest in the presidential race, I'm now an MP until we dissolve Parliament next month on the 12th.
Yes.
So wait until the 12th. Then we can set the dates, because I also want to be reachable.
Yes.
If you start now, you are cutting me out because I'm a constitutional officer.
Yes,
and the Constitution, you know, disqualifies me.
So the party AGMs are supposed to be done when the Parliament is
correct. Now that we are, you know, even the new constituencies and whatnot, then we begin properly to contest.
The late former president Edgar Lungu, under whom you served as minister, remains in the morgue 10 months after his death. How do you feel about that?
That has been a heavy one. That has been the heaviest one. And I think as a nation, we must view it in such manner. You know, President Edgar Lungu was the only last existing former president. Notwithstanding what he could have gone through, but we could have handled his death differently. And I'm saying we, collectively, we could have handled his death differently and in a more humane Zambian manner. This is an indictment to all of us. It is we must feel ashamed. Because even when I go somewhere and people ask you, oh yeah, you haven't buried your, it strikes me. Even when you tell me now we are going to the elections, how free am I going to be completely to compete? Because back my mind, I know that we haven't buried someone. Where I come from, let's just think of the family, the widow, the first family, the former first family that is been bearing this burden. You know, we must get to a point where we can define politics, but also understand that we are human beings. Because even the current head of state is not going to be there forever. He's a former head of state. And I'll tell you, I would want him to be treated like a former head of state, with the dignity that he deserves. That's what I would want. I wouldn't want anyone to go through what this former head of state went through. It's it's uncalled for.
What do you think we should do? Is it a matter of changing the constitution?
It's not about the constitution. It's just about the attitude as people. How should we treat each other? How should we treat each other? Forget about the rules and the constitutions and whatnot. Because even now, matter is now in court. You understand? If we resolved it,
if the constitution clearly said former heads of states must sleep here, maybe the issues like this would not come.
No, my brother, like I'm telling you, let me give you an example. We had challenges here in Zimbabwe. You know, when President Mugabe died, there were these issues and they were dealt with. President dos Santos in Angola, there were issues, but things were handled and a win-win situation. He was buried there. We had recently Mr. Raila Odinga, a prominent political figure in Kenya, who died. You saw how the politicians came together. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who was the former head of state, was at the center of making sure that everybody came together, and President Raila Odinga was given a proper send-off. The family had a role to play. You know, he died in India. It just took, I think, about 3 days. He was flown into Kenya. The president was given a role to understand, and they took him to go and rest in his place of origin. You understand? So it's not so much about what you craft. It's something how you culturally treat each other.
Tell me, so as the nation, how do we come out of this impasse? How do you suggest we should proceed?
You know, if the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, it's very difficult to even suggest the exit options. But given a way, I would be for the idea to bury the former head of state before we go to general elections. That would be the best. How do we do that? Let's respect the family's interest. Okay? We can have a win-win situation. You understand? The state can play a role. A state is not individual. You understand? A state is not an individual. A state is many stakeholders. If such a challenge, the family are saying, look, we would like the state to play a role like the initial discussions went. If we had stuck to that, probably this time we could have been talking a different story. So even when you have got authority, you must exercise that authority within the give and take kind of spirit.
How do we bury former head of state without the current head of state maybe attending the funeral?
No, it's not a must that the current head of state must attend the funeral.
It's not a must.
It's not a must. It's something that can be managed. It's something that can be managed. The vice president has got the same authority and power. It can be delegated to do if it's such it comes to that. So it's not a must. Listen, I'll give you an example.
Doesn't this show weakness from the presidency point of view if I'm going to be taking demands from you people?
No, it's not taking demands. It's give and take. I think if you look at the initial agreement that was there, you saw the way it was structured, and I think that the president was going to have a role that was defined within those discussions they had initially, before the changes took place. When communication was done, that seemed to be different from what was initially agreed upon.
Yes.
So these are matters that, we have spoken to the leaders in the region, we have spoken to many people in the region, and really the settlement can be found. And if the issues of the courts that came in were to be avoided, probably it could have been easier. Because when you take each other to court, it means you have failed to reason.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to start reasoning now when you are in court.
And you want someone else to think for you.
Exactly.
Because you have failed to talk the two of you.
Exactly. That's where the challenge is. Look, I was part of government when we had Ma'am Bet Kaunda dying, And initially, the decision was that we were supposed to take her to the Uwa Mission, where they came from, and changes were made. Through discussions and engagement, the changes were made. Plans were made. We even went to prepare the burial site. For example, I was with my older brother, Kano Panchkaunda, in doing all that. Then changes were made, and compromises were made. We brought our mother. She was buried at the house. Then came the most biggest one, the old man himself, you know. So there was this back and forth and, you know, court issues and whatnot. But eventually they were, even when the court was decided on the matter, there were still discussions that went on, you know, to engage between the government and the family. And finally it was settled. So I'm saying all this just to say that even in the past there have been issues, but depending on the approach you take, issues can easily be quickly resolved. This has been the longest.
This has been the longest.
And look, like I've told you, you just have to feel for my first lady and the family, what they've gone through, and the nation also. Yeah, because you had that funeral, then from nowhere, you know, things just turn around. So desirable for me, I would, now this is beyond our control. We don't know how long those courts would take to make a final decision. And that final decision, who is going to be a winner and loser? Is that what we want to see? So this is what I'm saying. It's important to settle some of these matters, if possible, out of court. Yeah. So even when I hear the Attorney General making public statements on it, I just feel taken aback, because I would rather you come and comment on things when you know you have done the work. If there are engagements that are going on, let those engagements be there sincerely. You know, then you can come and talk about them. To try and pronounce, and people expect, oh yeah, now the Attorney General said there are some discussions of reaching some form of compromise even as the court is going on. You start now, you know, creating anxieties.
Honorable, because of time, I'd like to thank you so much for making time. But before I let you go, what word do you have for the Zambian people that are following this program right now?
So to the Zambian people, we are saying, yes, especially to those of you who are my fellow Patriotic Front members, there's been so much going on in terms of leadership issues, and you feel shortchanged, you feel let down. But I want to encourage you that nothing is lost completely. We are here as your leaders, and we have to listen to you. And to my fellow leaders, for me, it's not time to blame anyone, to blame each other, to blame game. We have got the people of Zambia that are looking up to us to provide alternative leadership. My colleagues and I, who are with Tonse, where we've got our comrade, Honorable Brian Mundubire, as a flag bearer, we are trying to bring everybody on board so that we can work together.
Split the vote.
Yeah, so that, you know, no conditions set out. You know, we have allowed ourselves to be toasted around, to be prayed around, to be scattered. You know, and this is not the democracy that I think we should be having. You should have left PF to be PF, to be competing. You understand? But I think even the challenges that have been put in the Patriotic Front must not make us think there's nothing we can do. I regret to see State Council Sangwa pulling out of the political arena. Certainly, he was going to bring value. He was going to add something. But you must pay attention to his frustrations. What has frustrated him, you know, to give up on the journey he started to try and serve the people differently. So these are things that we should be looking at and try to define. We are not angels, you know, we are not angels. That's why we put laws for ourselves. It's because we know as human beings, we are prone to make mistakes. That's why we get guided by the laws that we set for ourselves. Yeah, but if we start ignoring the laws that we have set for ourselves, it's a problem. So to my Patriotic Front family, yes, we have been tossed around. But we know, even out of confusion, how we get together and stand for the people. The proper policies that our late President Michael Sata left with us, carried on by President Isiel, are things that should be our strength, are things that should bring us together. We may differ today, but let's remember that which was bringing us to be common brothers and sisters with intention to serve the citizens. So my call is not to blame each other, to continue blaming each other. We have had enough of that. Let's zero in and come together and see how we can help our people, even as short the period is. That's, I think, what I could say to my people. And those that are desiring to become members of parliament, please first of all understand what it is that you want to get into. Representing people is a noble task. Don't come and represent yourselves. You get here and you just think of the pocket and think of here. You need to understand that those people you want to go and ask for a vote will be depositing trust in you. So you don't have to just come and wake up. We must know that even when you want to make a decision, even me as I sit here,
yes,
it's not about me saying I'm going back to Shwangandu. My people will have to tell me. You understand? That's how much authority the people have. Even those who are saying, yo, kwenyu, the people will decide whether indeed there is kwenyu. Or there is just too much salt, which you can't now eat.
Are you recontesting Shwangandu?
Like I said, that's now people's decision to make.
Honorable, thank you so much for making time. And by the way, the speech you just gave about people being honest to people that are going to be depositing their trust in them is very powerful.
Correct, because it's easier, you feel you can give empty promises, you can be vague. I had one colleague I was with in the PF on some radio program where he was trying to, to talk hill about where he's coming from. And people were able to remind him that, sir, we saw you running around the markets, empowering people. What has changed today? What story do you have today? In fact, I must say, treacherous behavior will always be treacherous behavior. If I mistreat you today, and you've got a friend next who wants to be my friend, you should be the first one to go and say, hey, be careful with that one coming. That's what we know him for. Yeah, so those of you colleagues who are President Iseo's comrades, even as you are going, as you are abandoning, you must make sure that the moment you talk hill about where you're coming from, what guarantee is there that you are not going to talk hill about the same person that you are joining today? Yeah, so you people are receiving people, that's a warning.
It's a big warning. Honorable, thank you so much for making time for the Zambian people, and I really appreciate you've taken time from your busy schedule to come and spend 2 hours with us here. Don't take that for granted.
I'm profoundly humbled that you found time to invite me, and it's always good to speak to our people on different platforms.
This has been one of the longest episodes we've had. An episode is just supposed to stand for like an hour. So you have abused me. You have I've abused you a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, I with pleasure. I have been happy to be here.
Thank you very much. We've been on the show with Shwangandu PF Member of Parliament, also former Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Stephen Kapyongo, and of course, we thank you so much for making time to also pass on your views to him, and of course, he also did the same to you. Until next time, my name is Jackson Piri.